So what is probability? Probability is basically the math of chance. So we can call it the mathematics of chance, and it is expressed as a percentage. So as a percentage. So when we say percentage, that means a comparison. Per means divided by, cent means 100. So divided by 100 out of 100. So if someone says the probability is 0.2, it basically means 20%, which basically means 20 out of 100, which basically means 2 out of 10, which basically means 1 out of 5. So you see, they're basically the best way to think of them as a percentage, but you can also think of them as fraction. As for example, 1 out of 5 means the chance that if you do that activity 5 times, out of those 5 times, 1 time you will get the event that you're looking for. So that's the idea. So by that concept, the total probability cannot exceed 100%. That is the total probability. So total probability cannot exceed 100%. That means 100% means 100 over 100, which means 1. So the probability has to be equal to 1 or less than 1. So we can say if P is the probability, in that case the probability can be 0 or the probability can be 1, but it cannot be more than 1 and it cannot be less than 0. So probability will be a number between 0 to 1, which is the same as 0% to 100%. The activity that you do for which you need to know the probability, that activity is known as an experiment. That means the activity by which we can find the probability. So whenever you're thinking about an experiment in probability, think about an activity. For example, if you want to know whether by tossing a coin it will be a head or a tail, so that would be an activity that you need to do. So tossing a coin is an experiment. On the other hand, if you want to know whether by throwing a die, whether it will be 1 or 2 or 3, so that is also an activity, throwing a dice. So the plural is dice, singular is die. So that's the experiment. So the first concept to know about is probabilistic experiment. Now if you want to find the probability of something, so the first thing you need to do is the activity. Now the next thing is, what are the possible outcome? So that is known as sample space. So sample space means all the possible outcome. For example, if you're tossing a coin, then all the possible outcome, it's either head or it's a tail. So that's the possible outcome. On the other hand, if you're throwing a die, the possible outcome can be, it can be a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 6. So that's all the possible outcome. So now when we write this this capital N, meaning the sample space, we usually write it like this. So for this, the sample space is 2. For this, the sample space is 6, because there are 6 possible outcomes and there are only 2 possible outcomes. Now event. So what's an event? So when we talk about event, the event of a probability, so it is a specific outcome from the sample space. That means, so here suppose you have head and tail and you want a specific outcome from the sample space. Suppose you're looking for a head. So if you are tossing a coin and then you get a head, that means the event that you're looking for, it's only, there's one possible value, that is 1. On the other hand, suppose you are throwing a die and now you're looking for an even number. If you're looking for an even number, now here are 3 even number. 2 is an even number, 4 is an even number, 6 is an even number. So here the number of event is 3. So the idea is, whenever we are talking about event is a specific, some specific outcomes from the sample space, which is the total outcome, every possible outcome. You can think of this as, if this is the sample space, so this is n, if you talk in terms of sets, then this part, a specific portion of the sample space, is the event.